In this video, I would like to talk about taxonomy. So taxon is singular of taxa, and taxa means levels or ranks. This was proposed by a Swedish naturalist. His name is Coriolanus in 1707 to 1778. He proposed a system of levels or ranks for classification is called taxa. Now if we talk about that further, that what we study in a taxonomy, so we study two things. One is called taxon, or we can also call that taxa is the plural of taxon, and the second thing is that giving scientific names to the organism. So we will study two things. One is called classification of organisms, and the second thing is giving scientific names to the organism. The second thing is giving scientific names to organisms. Taxonomy, we can define that taxonomy is the study of classification of organisms, and giving scientific names to organisms is called taxonomy. So we can generally define that the study of classification of organism and giving scientific name to organism is called taxonomy. Now if we talk about that, what does classification means? So we can simply define that classification is a method. Classification is a method by which biologists divide organisms into groups and subgroups on the basis of similarities and differences. Similarities and differences is called classification. What is classification? Classification is a method. Method means procedure by which biologists, a person who study is called biologist, distribute organisms into groups and subgroups on the basis of similarities and differences is called classification. Now here we will discuss the classification of organism, that how we divide organism into groups and subgroups. If we talk about the classification of organism, so why we divide organisms into groups and subgroups? We divide the organisms groups and subgroups to know what is the difference between organisms and what are the similarities among the organisms. So look at here, the basic unit of classification is called species, and the highest is called kingdom. So the first one is called kingdom. And the second is called, if we come down, it's just like a ladder. That is called phylum. Phylum. That is called phylum. And the next one is, that is called class. And class, then we have order. And order, then we have family. Family, family. And the next we have, that is called genus. Genus. That is called genus. And next we have species. Species, species. So if we talk about this, is called the classification of organism. The basic unit of classification is called species. And the highest unit is called kingdom. The highest unit is called kingdom. If we talk about that, if we want to study the words, it's very difficult. So we divide the word, if we talk about the word, so word, how we can study word? So it was difficult for us, that W-O-R-L-D, word. So then what we did? We divide the word into 7 continents. So it's become very easy. We divide them into continents. And then it is also difficult for us to study about a continent. So then we divide about, that is called countries. Countries. And then for more easy to understand, we divide countries into state or provinces. We can also call states or provinces, and then state further divide into cities. That is called cities. And then also for more easy, we divide them by towns, etc. And also then later on we come toward the towns, maybe sector, and sector then maybe home, etc. To understand easy. And this one is called like a level or rank. This one is called like level, or we can also call rank here. So this is only a general example. If we talk about, our main focus is to talk about that how we divide organism into groups and subgroups. Now we will take that how we give scientific names to the organism. We will take the example in human beings. Human beings. So now, first, which kingdom human beings is included? So we are counting in human beings, and that is called kingdom Animalia. Kingdom Animalia. Kingdom Animalia. And if we talk about that, what does Animalia means? Animalia include those organisms which cannot prepare their own food because they do not have chloroplast. And then we have phylum. What is phylum? Phylum is called chordata. Chordata. D-A-T-A. Chordata. What does chordata means? Chordata are those organisms which contains or which have backbone. Simply we call here, that is here backbone. That is called here, we call backbone. Backbone is present. Backbone is also called vertebrate. And if we talk about the class for the human beings is, that is class is Mammalia. And do you know what does Mammalia means? Those organisms which have mammary glands, and due to the presence of mammary glands, they provide milk to the offsprings. So we called Mammalia. In order we have, that is called primates. What is order? The order of human is, that is called primates. And simply we say that primates are those which have hairs on their bodies. And the next one, if we talk about family, so family we have hominidae. Hominidae. That is called hominidae. And if we talk about further, so genus is called Homo. And species is called Homo sapien. Homo sapien. S-A-P-I-E-N. Homo sapiens. Yes, if we talk about that, so we draw what? In a taxonomy we did two things. In a taxonomy I have done two things. Once I have done that classification of human beings. It simply means that I have placed the humans in a classification, and the second that I give scientific name. So what is the scientific name of human? That is called Homo sapien. Yes, there is the rules of writing scientific names, that the first letter of genus, it must be capital, while the second must be small letter here. So if we recall that what is taxonomy? So taxonomy is the combination of two Greek words. Taxon basically called, this one is called, one is called like taxon. Like if you talk about like here, this is called one taxon, another taxon, and taxon, and taxon. And taxon basically, it is like a ladder. From high to low or from low to high, it is also called taxon, or we can also call levels or ranks, etc. So we have done that classification, and also we give that scientific name to human beings. So in taxonomy we study, one is called classification of organism, and the second is that giving scientific name. So if you recall that, so we have kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata, class Mammalia, order Primates, family Hominidae, and genus Homo, and species mean Homo sapien. So this was about that the taxonomy, that what does taxonomy means.